If you're over 60, I want you to listen to me very carefully because there is something I have learned after decades of caring for older hearts that I wish more people understood. Some exercises that look healthy, impressive, and even admirable can become the wrong choice for your body when they're performed too intensely, too quickly, or without considering your individual health. And the most dangerous part is that you may not feel anything is wrong until your body finally forces you to pay attention. I know that may sound frightening. I don't want to frighten you. I'm telling you because I want you to keep doing the things you love for as many years as possible. I am an older physician living here in the United States, and after spending much of my life listening to people's hearts, checking their blood pressure, watching them recover, and sitting beside families during difficult moments, I've learned one important lesson. After 60, exercise should not be a competition with your younger self. Your goal isn't to prove that you can still train like you're 30. Your goal is to remain strong enough to enjoy your life. So let me ask you something before we go any further. When you exercise, are you trying to become stronger and healthier? Or are you sometimes trying to prove that you're not getting older? Because those are two very different things. And if you have ever pushed yourself during a workout simply because you didn't want to feel old, I want you to stay with me. You may recognize yourself in some of what I'm about to share. And if you appreciate conversations like this, quiet, practical conversations about growing older with more wisdom and less fear, please consider subscribing to After 60 Life Wisdom. We created this space for people who understand that getting older isn't something to apologize for. It's something to understand, respect, and live well. Now, before we talk about specific types of exercise, let me make one thing very clear. Exercise itself is not the enemy. For most older adults, regular physical activity is an important part of maintaining health, mobility, independence, mood, and quality of life. But the right exercise depends on the individual. Your medical history, medications, fitness level, balance, joints, blood pressure, heart condition, and previous injuries all matter. So please don't take anything I say as a personal medical prescription. If you have heart disease, uncontrolled blood pressure, significant symptoms, or you're beginning a new exercise program after being inactive, talk with your doctor or another qualified healthcare professional first. With that said, let's talk about the first habit that concerns me. High-intensity workouts and pushing yourself far beyond your comfortable level. I understand why these workouts are attractive. They make you sweat. They make you breathe hard. They give you that feeling that you really accomplished something. And when you see younger people performing intense interval workouts online, it's tempting to think, why can't I do that too? But here's something I would tell my own patients. You don't get extra points for making your heart work harder than necessary. High-intensity interval training or other forms of very vigorous exercise aren't automatically dangerous for every person over 60. Some older adults can safely perform vigorous exercise with appropriate medical guidance and conditioning, but suddenly jumping into intense bursts of exercise without preparation can be a very different story. Imagine an older person who has been walking comfortably for years. One morning, they decide they're going to get serious. They start sprinting, jumping, pushing themselves through repeated bursts because they saw a workout online. Their heart rate rises rapidly. Their breathing becomes difficult. They feel dizzy for a moment, but tell themselves, that's just because I'm getting back in shape. That is precisely when I want you to stop and pay attention. Not every sensation means something dangerous is happening, but chest pressure, chest pain, unusual shortness of breath, fainting, near fainting, severe dizziness, or a new sensation of an irregular or racing heartbeat should not be casually dismissed. Your body isn't trying to embarrass you. It's communicating with you. Have you ever felt something unusual while exercising and thought, I'll just push through it? If you have, I'd genuinely like to know. Tell me in the comments. You don't have to share anything private. Simply tell me whether you've ever ignored a warning sign because you thought stopping would make you look weak. Because one of the biggest mistakes I see in older adults is confusing discomfort with achievement. You don't have to suffer to prove that you're taking care of yourself. Sometimes the wiser choice is to slow down. A brisk but comfortable walk may serve you better than a workout that leaves you gasping. Swimming may be more appropriate than sprinting. Gentle cycling may be preferable to explosive movements. Tai Chi may help you work on balance and control without demanding sudden bursts of effort. The question isn't, what's the hardest exercise I can tolerate? The better question is, what kind of movement can I continue safely and consistently? That's a question I wish more people asked. Because at this stage of life, consistency is more valuable than showing off. Now let's talk about something else that can cause problems when it's performed without proper technique or consideration of your health. Heavy lifting and strenuous core exercises. Let me say this carefully because I don't want you to misunderstand me. Strength training can be extremely valuable as we age. Maintaining muscle helps us remain independent. It can make everyday activities easier. It can support balance, mobility, and function. I don't want you to stop strengthening your body. I want you to strengthen it intelligently. Heavy lifting, especially when you strain, hold your breath, or use poor technique, can cause significant temporary changes in blood pressure. This is one reason technique, appropriate resistance, breathing, and individual medical considerations matter so much. I've seen people who were determined to prove they could still lift the same amount they lifted years ago. They would load the weight, brace themselves, hold their breath, and push. And I'd ask them afterward, why did you choose that particular weight? The answer was often something like, because I used to be able to lift it. But here's the truth nobody likes to hear. Your body doesn't care what you used to be able to do. It cares what it can safely handle now. There's tremendous dignity in adapting. Maybe you used to lift heavy barbells. Today, perhaps resistance bands, lighter weights, machines, or controlled bodyweight movements are more appropriate for you. Maybe you used to perform dozens of sit-ups. Today, a qualified professional might recommend a different way to strengthen your core. That's not failure. That's intelligence. And if you're someone who has always believed that more weight means more strength, I'd like you to think about something. What if real strength after 60 isn't about lifting the heaviest thing in the room? What if real strength is knowing exactly when to stop? That's a different kind of strength, and it's one that becomes increasingly valuable with age. If you're still listening, I want to pause here and ask you something. Which matters more to you now? Being able to say, I can still do what I did 20 years ago, or being able to say, I can still walk into my kitchen, climb my stairs, travel, play with my grandchildren, garden, dance with my spouse, and live independently. Think about that. And if your answer is independence, type independence in the comments. I'd love to see how many of you agree with me. Now, let's move to something people often overlook completely: the environment in which they exercise. Extreme temperatures. I've lived long enough to remember when people thought going outside and toughing it out was always a sign of strength. But your body doesn't care about pride. Cold weather can cause blood vessels to constrict, while extreme heat can place additional demands on the cardiovascular system and contribute to dehydration. Older adults may also have a reduced ability to regulate body temperature compared with when they were younger. That means the same walk that feels perfectly comfortable on a mild morning may feel completely different during extreme heat or bitter cold. And this is where common sense becomes one of your best health tools. If it's dangerously hot outside, perhaps you walk indoors. If the temperature is extremely cold, perhaps you use a treadmill, an indoor walking track, a shopping center, or another comfortable environment. Drink fluids appropriately, dress for the weather, and pay attention to how your body responds. Don't wait until you feel terrible before admitting that the conditions aren't right. I remember one of the most important lessons I learned from an older patient who had been stubbornly exercising outdoors despite severe weather. He told me, "Doctor, I thought I was being tough." I told him, "You don't need to be tough. You need to be here next year." That sentence stayed with me. Because sometimes wisdom looks remarkably ordinary. It looks like moving your workout indoors. It looks like carrying water. It looks like turning around and going home. It looks like saying, today isn't the day, and there is nothing weak about that. Now let me talk about another category that worries me more as people age. Jumping, sudden direction changes, rapid movements, and exercises that demand a lot of coordination very quickly. Again, these movements aren't automatically forbidden for everyone, but they can become inappropriate for some older adults depending on fitness, balance, joint health, cardiovascular status, and experience. Why? Because aging isn't simply about getting weaker. Your balance, reaction time, flexibility, muscle power, vision, and ability to recover from sudden changes can all change with age. A movement that once felt effortless may now require more coordination. A quick turn can become a stumble. A sudden jump can become a hard landing. A fast change of direction can challenge both your balance and your cardiovascular system. And falling is not a trivial matter for an older adult. One fall can change your confidence. It can change your mobility. It can sometimes change your independence. So when someone tells me, "Doctor, I want an exercise that makes me feel young," I understand the emotion behind that statement. But I usually respond, then choose an exercise that helps you keep living like yourself. You don't need to jump around to feel alive. You can walk, you can swim, you can cycle, you can practice Tai Chi, you can perform controlled strength exercises, you can stretch, you can dance at a comfortable pace, you can garden, you can take the stairs carefully if they're appropriate for you. There are countless ways to move without turning every workout into a battle against gravity. And here's a question for you. When you exercise, do you sometimes compare yourself with the person next to you? Maybe they're younger. Maybe they're fitter. Maybe they move faster. Please remember this. You're not exercising to win their life. You're exercising to protect yours. That distinction can change everything. Now, there's one more exercise habit I'd like you to reconsider. Exercising too close to bedtime when it interferes with your sleep. This one is more complicated than many people realize. Some people can exercise in the evening without any trouble sleeping at all. In fact, moderate activity may feel relaxing to them. But if you notice that vigorous or stimulating exercise late in the evening leaves you energized, overheated, restless, or unable to fall asleep, then your schedule may need adjusting. Why does that matter? Because sleep is not simply doing nothing. Sleep is an essential part of recovery. And as we grow older, sleep can become more fragile. If late-night exercise repeatedly interferes with your ability to sleep well, then the problem isn't that exercise is bad. The problem may be timing. Perhaps your body would respond better to movement earlier in the day. Perhaps your evening should become a period of gradually slowing down. A peaceful walk, a little stretching, a quiet conversation, a book, a comfortable bedtime routine. Sometimes protecting your heart means knowing when the day should become quiet. And this brings me to the part of this conversation that I care about most. After decades in medicine, I don't believe the healthiest older person is necessarily the one who exercises the hardest. I believe the healthiest person is often the one who has learned to listen. Listen before the body screams. Listen when fatigue feels unusual. Listen when dizziness appears. Listen when pain isn't normal. Listen when your breathing doesn't seem right. Listen when your heart feels different. And most importantly, listen without embarrassment. I've had older patients tell me, I didn't want to complain. I thought it was just aging. I didn't want my family to worry. I didn't want to admit I couldn't do what I used to do. I understand that, but please don't confuse silence with strength. Your body has carried you through decades. It has carried you through jobs, marriages, children, disappointments, celebrations, illnesses, losses, victories, sleepless nights, stressful mornings, and countless ordinary days that you probably didn't even notice at the time. Your heart has been working for you every second. Isn't it time you started working with it, not against it? And that is why I want you to forget the idea that aging means giving up. It doesn't. But aging does mean adapting. You don't have to move less. You may simply need to move differently. You don't have to stop being strong. You may need to redefine strength. You don't have to stop challenging yourself. You may need to challenge yourself with greater wisdom. There is no prize for exhausting yourself. There is no trophy for finishing a workout while ignoring chest pain. There is no medal for pretending you're 30 when you're 70. Your reward is much more meaningful. It's waking up tomorrow. It's walking into your backyard. It's making breakfast for someone you love. It's driving to see your grandchildren. It's taking a vacation. It's gardening. It's dancing with your spouse. It's sitting on the porch with a cup of coffee and watching the morning arrive. That's what we're protecting. Life. Not numbers on a fitness tracker. Not how much you sweat. Not how impressive your workout looks on social media. Life. So if I could leave you with one message today, it would be this. Don't punish your body because you're afraid of getting older. Take care of it because you've earned the privilege of growing older. Move wisely. Build strength gradually. Respect your limitations. Give your body time to recover. Choose environments that support you. And if something doesn't feel right, don't automatically tell yourself, I'm just getting old. Sometimes your body is asking you to pay attention. And if you have a known heart condition, significant cardiovascular risk factors, or you're considering a major change in your exercise routine, please speak with your healthcare professional about what is appropriate for you. Your exercise plan should fit your health, not somebody else's body, somebody else's age, or somebody else's video online. Now I want to ask you something personal. If you could change just one thing about the way you exercise today, what would it be? Would you slow down? Would you start walking? Would you stop comparing yourself to younger people? Would you finally listen to a warning sign you've been ignoring? Or perhaps you've already learned this lesson the hard way. Whatever your answer is, share it in the comments. Your story might be exactly what another person needs to hear. And if this conversation helped you look at aging a little differently, please subscribe to After 60, Life Wisdom, and stay with us. This channel isn't about pretending age doesn't exist. It's about learning how to live wisely with the years we've been given. Because here's what I believe after all these years. Aging is not the opposite of strength. Aging can teach us a deeper form of strength, the strength to slow down, the strength to say no, the strength to ask for help, the strength to change an old habit, the strength to admit that something doesn't work anymore, and perhaps most importantly, the strength to understand that protecting your future is more important than proving something about your past. So the next time you put on your walking shoes, don't ask yourself, how hard can I push today? Ask yourself, how can I move today in a way that helps me enjoy tomorrow? That's the question I want you to carry with you. And if you remember nothing else from our conversation, remember this. Your body is not your enemy. Your age is not your enemy. Your heart is not something to fear. It is something to listen to. After all these decades, your heart has never asked you to be young again. It has simply asked you to take care of it. So walk gently, breathe deeply, build strength wisely, Rest without guilt, and listen when your body speaks. You don't need to defeat aging. You simply need to live it well. And if you're listening to me right now, I want you to know something. You're not too old to start taking better care of yourself. It's not too late to change. It's not too late to walk more wisely. It's not too late to become stronger in a safer way. And it's certainly not too late to appreciate the extraordinary gift of another ordinary day. Thank you for spending this time with me. Before you leave, tell me one thing in the comments. What is one healthier choice you're going to make for yourself from today forward? And if you believe someone you love needs to hear this message, share it with them. Subscribe to After 60 Life Wisdom and come back for another conversation about health, aging, relationships, independence, and the life lessons that become clearer with every year. Take care of yourself. Take care of your heart. And I'll see you in our next conversation. Creator's Note. Thanks for using Copywriter GPT. We'd love your feedback to improve your experience. Feedback survey. htdocs.google.com/forms IE1FA IPOPUL SC8 UDYMG 6PZ view form.